Welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show, where wealth means a lot more than just building a second stream of income. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate to create a lifestyle that most people only dream about. A lifestyle that includes good health, family, romance, travel, charity, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Now, here is your host, real estate investor and mentor, Steve Davis.
Good afternoon and welcome to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're here talking about using real estate to build a second stream of income that just changes your life. It really does. Gives you more time with the family, takes the financial pressure of being solely dependent on a job off of you, allows you to make it through catastrophes like this COVID event. And this is for people who, I don't know how to say it without, well, I'm just going to say it, who want more out of life. They just flat out want more. They want a higher quality of lifestyle for their family. They want more romance. They want more fitness. They want more money. They want more time for travel. That's what this show is really about. It's that group, and it's really the top 20% of the people, because I always follow I think it's the Pareto rule, that the top 20% of the people are always going to get 80% of the results, and then the other 80% get 20% of the results. And if you're listening to this show, you're probably in that top 20%. So what I want to talk about today is the opportunity that is coming as a result of the COVID response, and what you should do about it to get ready for it in the meantime, because we're all stuck at home. We're all sitting there doing Legos, doing puzzles, trying to exercise at home. I mean, I went to go buy, this was about 2 weeks into it, I got online and I said, I'm going to buy myself some weights so I can train at home. No. So I decided to go to Academy. No. Everybody was smarter than me and had already bought them up. So it was that kind of motivated me to look at what I was going to do during these 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks, whatever it ends up being. And it reminded me of Stephen Covey's 7th habit, which is, this is the time to sharpen the saw. It's the time to sharpen the saw. This is where you should be training your brain. And by that, I'm referring to books, audio, webinars, because you can't get to a seminar now. But you should be planning on going to seminars as soon as they give us the go-ahead, because there's going to be a massively huge opportunity, much like 2008. It's not going to last as long as 2008's recession, the Great Recession, did, but it's going to be a good 2 years or more, I believe. And I hate to speculate, but I just think it's going to take about 2 years for things to get back to normal. And then the market's always a little behind the psychology. In other words, the people are going to be back to normal in 2 years, but the market's going to be a little behind it. So it may be 3 years that this opportunity is there. But that's not a long time. It really isn't. If you've decided, hey, I'm listening to Steve, I want to build a second stream of income, the COVID response is going to cause there to be tons of property at deeply discounted prices coming on the market right after the event is over, and I want to be able to take advantage of it. So it really comes down to reading, studying, and preparing yourself mentally for the opportunity that's about to be right in your face. And to create some pain for yourself because remember, pain motivates 3 times as much as pleasure does. To create some pain for yourself, I want you to think about this. When 2008 came, thousands upon thousands of people built small, medium, and large fortunes in the real estate industry by taking advantage of the circumstances, all of the foreclosures, all of the distressed properties. They bought them and made literally millions of dollars. Think about this. How many of you would go back in time with me to 2008 and buy those $60,000, $70,000 houses that were worth $150 or more, that are now worth $200 or more? How many of you would go back in time and do that with me? I'm sure every one of you would, because with the wisdom of hindsight, you would be foolish to say, no, I don't want to make money, I'm not going to do that. That no one of normal intelligence would say that. But if you're of normal intelligence, you're going, heck yeah, I'd go back to 2008. Well, guess what? 2008 is coming to you. And it's a month, maybe 2 months away. The question is, are you going to be prepared for it? And I'm telling you, this is the perfect opportunity to prepare for it. I think very few people are working full-time now. I know there are some. But you've got this time at home. You've got this time to study and to prepare yourself for battle, which, again, is going to happen in 1 to 2 months. If they let us out of this at the end of the month, I'm hoping, or if they extend it through May, you need to be ready to take advantage of this, because I'm telling you, you can build yourself a fortune in single family or apartments over the next 2 to 3 years. You're going to be capturing equity in these houses of $20,000 to $30,000 a piece. And then when the value comes back up, because it's not if, it's when, you're going to have $80,000 or $100,000 equity in every house you buy. So this is the time to do it. You don't want to look back 10 years from now and like you're looking back at 2008 and going, man, I wish I had done something. Please don't let that happen. And many of you have emailed me to get the reading list. I want to make that offer one more time. I'll make it many more times, but right now, if you want the reading list that I recommend, email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. You're listening to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. You can call me at 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening. Did you know that 70% of the millionaires in America used real estate as their main investment vehicle? You can and should have some real estate in your portfolio. This is Steve Davis, host of the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Starting with bad credit and no money at age 27, I began investing in real estate. By 30, I was retired. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thank you for listening. Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We are talking about what to do to prepare yourself for the opportunity that's coming in the next couple of months. And the first thing is, take care of your mentality. You need to educate yourself and sharpen that part of the saw as much as you can between now and the end of this COVID response. And as I've said over and over, there are 3 things to do. Read, and read some more. Get your brain pumped full of positivity, pumped full of knowledge, so that, because it's all going to get called on. The more you have in your mind, as challenges come, it's called a resource. When challenges come, you need those resources. And when a challenge comes, it's very hard to say, hold on, challenge, I'm going to run to the library and go study this challenge. It doesn't really work like that. You need that to be good at life. You need all this information in your head up front, so when you are confronted with the challenge, you already know the answer. Now, I'm not saying that I don't get hit with challenges that I don't know the answer to. It happens all the time. This is probably one of the most challenging stages of my life. And I'm 55, so I've got a lot of life experience. And this is the most challenging time I've ever seen. Again, in my lifetime. But it's not a world war. You're not, it's not as bad as I see some people making it. But if it weren't for all of my reading and studying, I'm opening a company, running my real estate, raising 2 adult kids, running a radio show, trying to deal with COVID. It's all of this stuff has piled up at once, but I find it actually exciting. You could probably say that I thrive in an environment like this because it is so challenging. I prefer the challenges to the boredom of everything going right. It sounds weird to say, but I remember Anthony Robbins talking about all the problems he had before he figured out how to make money. And he brings up the point that he has just as many problems now as he did when he was broke, but they're a much higher quality of problems. And he jokes that I now ride in a limousine to my problems. Totally different way to live. But the point is, he still thrives on problems. I guess the point I'm trying to make is there's going to be problems all the time. All the time. And you can choose to whine about it, complain about it, or you can just go, another challenge. How do I handle that? But I don't want you going to the bookstore every time you have a challenge. Get this stuff into your head in advance so that when the challenge comes, you address it right then and there, solve it, and move to the next one. Because that's what life is. Challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. And if you look at people, the only people that you will find that don't have problems or challenges are in the graveyard. They're dead. Their problems are over. If you're alive, you've got problems. And that's okay. Because that's what makes life exciting. If everything went perfect, you would die of boredom and join the people in the graveyard. So it's really fun to deal with these problems if you have the resources to deal with them. When I see people who don't have the resources to deal with them, mental resources, they're in pain. The world sucks. It's terrible. It's this, it's that. That's just because they didn't develop their mind. So, priority 1 is sharpen your mind. Read these books I keep suggesting. Get them in your head. There's so many resources in those 4 books I give out that it will literally change your life for massively better. Not just a little better. Massively better. The second thing that you want to do is prepare to get a mentor, because real estate, while it's not rocket science, does have a specific set of best practices that you have to know to be able to do it right. And the best practices involved in real estate investing are not intuitive at all. At all. That's why almost every person I know that has gone out and bought real estate on their own without a mentor has failed. Almost every one of them. Or they've admitted, doggone it, after taking a weekend class, they've said, doggone it, if I'd have known this, I have 30 houses now. If I'd have known this, I'd have 100. Because their trial and error in the real estate business is just going to add years and years and years to the learning process and cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. I will suggest it's going to cost you millions of dollars if you have a portfolio of 20 or 30 houses. You probably, if you did it on your own, chances are with a mentor you'd have 60, 100 houses. Chances are with a mentor you would have moved to apartments 10 years ago. So start looking for your mentor. It doesn't have to be me, but I would appreciate it if you'd give me a shot and attend our free workshop. We're going to do 3 webinars in April where you can stay at home, listen to my sales pitch, and see if our mentoring program fits your needs. And you can register for that at getrealwealth.com. Upper right hand corner is the free workshop button. Getrealwealth.com, free workshop button, upper right hand corner. Then select who you're going to choose as your mentor. And again, I don't care, you don't have to choose me, but choose somebody. There's multiple groups in Houston that are very good. Some are great, some are good. I can't name a terrible one, let's put it that way. So pick one, get out there, and start taking action. So those are your 2 major steps that you should take while you're homebound and not working, or not working as much, or whatever the circumstance is. Because bottom line, even if you're still working 40 hours a week, you're not going out to restaurants, you're not going out to bars. That means you have much more time to do what I'm talking about, even if you're still working full time. So there are the 2 things. Get your mind right by reading, and reading some more. 2, pick your mentor group. Pick which real estate investor group you're going to join, and get out there, get the information about joining, make a decision, enroll, and get yourself a mentor as quickly as possible. I'm talking, if they let you go on April 30th, you should have your mentor hired by May 5th. No bull, no 20 days to figure it out, 30 days to figure it out. Get it done. Then start taking action and acquiring these incredible deals that are coming up in the next few months. And over the next 2 to 3 years, I think the opportunity is going to be tremendous for people just like you to build massive wealth for themselves and their families. It's going to be incredible. We're going to have a lot of fun. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Or you can email me. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. And remember that you can ask anything. Don't ever forget that I was just a health club instructor when I started investing in real estate. I asked every dumb question there was, so I expect you to do it too. And if you feel like it's a dumb question, email it to me or call in, use a fake name so you don't embarrass yourself. Or if you're a little shy, use a fake name, but give me a call, 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. I've got a ton of emails here So I'm going to start answering these. This first one is kind of long, so I'm going to summarize it. Prospective tenant has a good job, good credit, but a bankruptcy from 10 years ago. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to leave this anonymous because it looks like it's coming from a company, but that must be just their email signature. I don't care about a bankruptcy 10 years ago. If for the last 2 or 3 years they paid all their bills on time, and you talk to their present landlord and the previous landlord, and they always paid their rent on time, I could care less about a doggone bankruptcy 10 years ago. So I would go on and lease to this person. They've got a perfect credit score. It appears you've checked with their present landlord. Make sure you check with the other landlord as well, the previous landlord. Run your credit in criminal. I would definitely lease to them. Again, I don't care about a 10-year-old bankruptcy. All right, this is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Call me at 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. Thanks for listening.
70% of the millionaires in America used real estate as their main investment vehicle. Listen to the GetRealWealth.com radio show to find out how you can do it too. Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. right here on AM 700 KSEV, the voice of Texas.
Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Remember, you can always find us online at GetRealWealth.com. There you can sign up for our free introductory webinars. There'll be 3 of them this month, a Thursday, and a Saturday morning. And I think only 2 Thursdays are online at this point, but don't worry about it. Go ahead and register for one. And if you can't make that one, then we'll email you when we decide which Saturday we're going to do. It's GetRealWealth.com, upper right-hand corner, free introductory workshop. So we're answering emails now, but I would love to have your phone calls as well. It's 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV, or email me at asksteve@GetRealWealth.com. asksteve@GetRealWealth.com. Okay, this is a basic question about what is a refinance. Now, I'm going to assume, I'm going to leave this name blank because I'm going to leave this one anonymous. I can't read this name. Can you please tell me exactly what a refinance is? I'm going to assume you're talking about a cash-out refinance. There are multiple reasons to refinance. The most popular are going to be lower your interest rate, extend your payments, or pull cash out. Example would be, let's say that you owe $60,000 on a $180,000 house, or let's round it up to $200,000. It would be wise to refinance that house and pull the equity out of it to go buy more single-family houses or to invest passively in apartment complexes. It would be a bad idea to leave it there. That's just dead equity. You know, when you've got that much equity in a property, you either need to sell it and go buy a bunch more houses, or refinance it and buy a bunch more houses, or, as I said, sell it or refinance it and invest passively in apartment complexes. Not really enough there to buy your own apartment complex, but you could definitely do some high rates of return in these apartment complex partnerships. So the other reason would be to refinance if you're, let's say you had a 6% interest rate. Well, right now you can get as low as 3.6. So, and probably some of you are going, no, I've seen it lower than that. That would save you, it would reduce your monthly payment, save you thousands upon thousands of dollars. So there's the reason people do it. from that point of view. Then the third point of view is, let's say that you owe $100,000 on a $200,000 house, but you've only got 5 years left on the mortgage. Well, that's going to be a very, very high payment. Probably would put you in the red, in other words, negative cash flow. You would definitely refinance that, pull out some cash, and extend it to 30-year financing so that you got more cash flow off of the property. So those are the three main types. Lower your interest rate, pull cash out, or reduce your monthly payment. So I hope that helps. That's exactly what a refinance is. Okay. Phone lines are open at 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay, this next email is rather long. I'm going to have to summarize it as well. It's basically unpaid rent at the end of a lease. Now, this occurs quite a bit, and this is why I've been telling people for the last few months that when you lease a house, don't ever take 1 month's rent as the security deposit. Always add a couple $100 to it. In other words, if the rent is $1,500, your deposit should be $1,700. Why? So people don't confuse it with the last month's rent. And you have a higher security deposit, which is better for you. If you use $1,500 rent, $1,500 security deposit, I don't know how this occurs, if it's all just BS from the tenant, but I've even had good tenants say this to me. They go, well, I already paid the last month's rent. And I have to call them up and go, wait a second, you haven't paid the rent yet. Well, we paid it. No, you didn't. That is your security deposit. Well, use that as my last month's rent. No. I'm going to have to evict you if you don't pay your rent. So when you change that number to $1,700, it's very hard for them to hide behind that BS excuse, because they know it's not the last month's rent. It's the security deposit. So in this particular case, it sounds like they're trying to say that the security deposit is their last month's rent. This is the 7th. You have to evict today. I don't even want you to listen to the rest of this radio show. I want you to head out and put a 3-day eviction notice on this tenant's front door. If you don't have one, you can Google it and find one. The minute you get home from doing that, I want you to call the judge's office that is going to handle the eviction, and find out what paperwork they require and if they have anything special that they want done in order to make the eviction go as smoothly as possible. This should have really been done the day you bought the property, but I don't know many people who do it. But the minute you buy a piece of real estate, always find out who the judge is, call their office, and see if he has any little idiosyncrasies about how he wants to handle evictions. While it's supposed to be the same for every judge, I'm sorry, it's not. I could even list a couple of judges by name and tell you what they do differently, but I'm not going to do that. So in answer to your question, unpaid rent, lease ending, they're lying and saying, oh, I think that was my last month's rent. Evict them now. I guarantee you they show up with the rent. Guarantee it. Okay, phone lines are open at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. Sorry about that. Okay, this is apartment complex passive investing. Is the market good? Oh, I see what they're saying. Is COVID going to make it better for the passive investors? Yeah, it's going to make it better for passive investors. It's going to make it better for the syndicators putting the deals together. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. So, yes, as a member of Real Wealth Academy, you will be able to, I'm going to explain it in the weekend class, but there are ways for you to be able to invest with the syndicators at Real Wealth Academy. And yes, it's going to be a great opportunity to purchase apartments. Because think about this. You've got somebody with 200 units. They're struggling. They're busting their rear end just to make their mortgage payment. COVID comes along. What do you think is going to happen to those people? See, their arrogance, their laziness, their unwillingness to take a course on property management, their unwillingness to get a mentor, that's their fault. Now, you can say, oh, you should feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for people like that at all. The information is out there. It's cheap. And they go out and take a risk with millions of dollars without doing any research at all. Sorry, I don't feel sorry. I just don't feel, I'm not sorry. I don't feel sympathy. I have empathy for them, but I have no sympathy for them. Those properties are all going to get foreclosed on because they're going to get slaughtered over the next few months because of the COVID event. And they were struggling before. They're going to fail. They're going to get behind on their payments, and they're not going to be able to recover. That's just the facts. So there's going to be tremendously good deals out there for competent syndicators, competent property managers, people who have spent the money to get themselves educated. They're going to swoop in and grab those deals, and we're going to make. I know it sounds like I'm bragging. I'm just telling you, we're going to make millions of dollars with these apartment complexes in the next couple of years. It's going to be amazing. So, in answer to your question, yes, I will explain that in the weekend class. I will schedule the weekend class as soon as we have permission to do it. So just stay tuned to your emails. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. You're listening to AM 700, the voice of Texas. This is the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. Thanks for listening.
Did you know that 95% of Americans fail to retire by age 65 and 36% are dead? The good news is that here at the GetRealWealth.com radio show, we know what the other 5% are doing. 70% of them own real estate. We are a mentoring group for new and experienced real estate investors. We will show you how to build a second stream of income that will allow you to retire at any age. I will be explaining this at a free 2-hour introductory workshop this month. If you would like to attend, please go to GetRealWealth.com. That's GetRealWealth.com.
Welcome back to the GetRealWealth.com radio show. I'm your host, Steve Davis. We're answering email questions. If you've got a question for me, you can email me a question at asksteve@GetRealWealth.com, asksteve@GetRealWealth.com, or call me, 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Now, this is a fun one to answer. This one came in during the break. This also was on Bigger Pockets multiple times. And the response is, let me see if I've got the one from Bigger Pockets. The question is, how do you figure out if a neighborhood is going to appreciate? Well, here's how you do it. You go get yourself a crystal ball or a Ouija board, and you guess. I'm sorry. There is no other way. There is no, this is why I hate stocks, because there's no way, absolutely no way, to tell if a stock's going to do well or not. You can say, well, this is the greatest CEO of all time. He's going to rock it. I don't care what you say. They have done this experiment literally with chickens, with chimps, with dead chickens, with darts. They literally take the stock market list and let chickens pick out the stocks they're going to buy, and they beat the S&P 500, I think it's called. The chimps beat the S&P 500. They cut off a chicken's head, let it run around until it fell down, and whatever stock it fell down on, that's the stock they chose. It worked. So that's, I found the BP one. Let me tell you what this one guy said. Joe is his name. He responded, he says, property values go up and down, mostly up. The questions aren't if, but how much and over what period of time. The best tool you can use, a crystal ball. See, everybody knows it. People live in a dream world if they think they can pick stocks, if they think they can pick a neighborhood that's going to go up in value. That's all speculation. That's all guesswork. And we don't care. Let me see, who is this? Oh, this is from the same person, Jiraj. I'm going to assume it's Jiraj that emailed earlier. It's when you're an investor, appreciation is the icing on the cake. It's not the cake. The cake is cash flow. And what you want to do is focus on cash flow and equity capture. In other words, buying it below market. Then, if and when it appreciates, you get it. You get it. But if you buy just for appreciation, you're really not an investor, you're a speculator. That's no better than the doggone stock market. You don't do that. You're buying for equity capture and cash flow. And then what happens is by default, you get the appreciation, which appreciation, just so you know, is real estate has doubled in value about every 20 years since 1776. So you're going to get the appreciation. As Joe said, it does go up and down from time to time, but the true graph is always up. It's always up. So don't ever invest trying to figure out the right neighborhood. You'll drive yourself nuts because it can't be done. You want to buy for cash flow and equity capture. So let this question go. You don't care about appreciation. You care about two things: equity capture and cash flow. All right, phone lines are open. We are in the final segment of today's show, so if you've got a question for me, please call me right now. It's 281-558-KSEV. That's 281-558-5738. Or email me at asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Okay. This next one, I'm not sure I understand it. It's rather lengthy. Everybody's having, I just realized everybody's stuck at home. So that's why these emails are so long. This particular email is relatively easy to answer. The question is, why do some of my houses show on my credit report and some of them don't? Well, Mr. Brown? Yeah. The reason is you made a mistake. It's your fault. And the reason it's your fault is because you paid off your real estate, which you're not supposed to do. Because as soon as you pay off your real estate, you've got dead equity, and it comes off your credit report. You're not getting credit for making payments on a mortgage. So that's a funny way of answering the question, which is they're not on there because you don't have a mortgage on them. See, your real estate's not on there. Your mortgages are on there. Does that make sense? If you don't have a mortgage on one of your pieces of real estate, then it's not going to be on there. And you're not getting any credit. It's not improving your credit or anything like that. So let's talk about, now that I've answered your question, let me give you some more garbage about having paid off real estate. It looks like you've got 4. There's 4 missing. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I remembered the number 4. You've got 4 paid in full houses. And let's assume they're $200,000 a piece. That's $800,000 of debt equity. Do you realize that you could go buy yourself a 30-unit, 40-unit apartment complex with that and turn that $800,000 into $2 million in about 2 years? But you're sitting there with dead equity. I'm going to assume you're not a member of a real estate investor group, because no real estate investor group would let you do this that I know of. So you're out there on your own. Sorry, Mr. Brown, you're doing it wrong, and you're costing yourself hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars by doing that. So my suggestion is to join a group like mine, if not mine, somebody's, that's good at multifamily. You need to get out of single family. I'm telling you that right now. You've got too much. Even if the houses are only worth $100,000, that's $400,000 sitting there dead. You say, well, I'm getting cash flow. I bet you're not getting more than a 6 or 7% rate of return. Whereas if you had mortgages on those things, you'd probably be making 18, 20% rate of return. So, Mr. Brown, get educated. Be humble. Let go of the greed. Let go of the laziness. Spend some money on your education and bust your rear end and learn a better way to do it. You are done with single family. You should be in apartments. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738. That's 281-558-KSEV. Or you're welcome to email me. It's asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Now, this next question, COVID and renewing tenant. Is your tenant? This is from a Kessler. And lease is coming up for auto renewal April 30th. This person has already left the house. Okay. And she wants to go month to month. Wait a minute. She's already moved out, and now she's saying she wants to go on a month-to-month lease. Do not let her back into your house. That's my recommendation. That is bizarre. And anytime you see something bizarre like this, get away from that person, because the next thing could be so bizarre that it hurts you. But she has moved out. She's abandoned the property. She hasn't paid her last month's rent. Go change the locks. Take photos that it has been abandoned. Call the judge for that house and get the details on what to do when someone abandons the apartment. You can also read your lease to find that out. But I highly advise you to call the judge. Tell them their policies on abandoned property, but do not let that woman move back into that property. That bizarre behavior is going to lead to problems in the future. Okay, hope that helps. All right, phone lines are open I think just one more minute. Yeah, we're about one minute out. So let me just give you the email address. And please remember that my email is open to you 24/7. I get dozens of emails every day. Very few of them are actually during the show, maybe 3, 4, or 5 at most. So do not hesitate or feel guilty about emailing me any time of the day. It is asksteve@getrealwealth.com. asksteve@getrealwealth.com. Got a question here about the 75% off. Yeah, it's still up. We're not talking about it, but I'll email you the link for how to get our membership for 75% off because we've run out of time. Okay, thanks everybody for listening. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe and healthy.
This has been the GetRealWealth.com radio show. Please remember that this show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decision. To find out about the mentoring and consulting at Real Wealth Academy, visit GetRealWealth.com and attend one of our free introductory workshops on real estate investing. That's GetRealWealth.com. Thanks for listening and have a great rest of your day.